Hello, peoples! I got a few things to say today. First of all, listen. You hear that? We hear the lack of that. Do you not hear my my computer struggling to survive as it barely did for the last several videos? Well, that's because one of you, an anonymous donor or donor that prefers to be anonymous, sent me a friggin' laptop. Now I have no excuse to not do more videos. Um, a fresh laptop. Of course, I'm not a trusting man, so I wiped the sucker clean. I put it back to its factory defaults, make sure there was nothing left behind by the previous owner. Yeah, I trust you. Sure, sure. but at any rate, got a new laptop. It's working fine. Seems to be using the same video programs that I'm used to. So great. Got a video. So it occurs to me recently somebody said, as they often do on one of my videos, I hope to come visit your shop someday when I'm in California. Well, I'm here to tell you, kids, if you snoozed, you lose. It ain't that kind of party anymore. See, it's almost what is it now? It's October 11th, almost a year now. October 15th, 2015, I did a bold thing. Um, crazy thing for me. I closed my physical shop and moved. I don't live in Santa Cruz anymore. I live in some place that's affordable to live. Santa Cruz is the most expensive place in the country to live now. And after about 20 years there organizing the pagan community before there was a pagan community, uh, I leave Santa Cruz with a thriving bunch of pagan communities that I helped build, and other people helped build them too. And a thriving bunch of groups, lots of rituals to go to. Very different place than when I went there, which hopefully I'll do to the place I'm at now. We're organizing here too. But I came to the realization. You see, I lived most of my life in a witch store. I ditched a huge portion of high school and junior high to work in the back of a witch store. And then I worked in the first witch store in Santa Cruz when they first opened, until I learned enough to start my own, a worker-owned collective called the Sacred Grove. Uh, and my goal was never to be a businessman. It took me a long time to just figure out how to do enough business to keep the place open, because I was never a very good capitalist. Business was not my focus. My focus was organizing pagans, teaching pagans and witches, and being a priest, uh, seeing to their needs, serving the craft at large, the craft, the world. And let's see, my physical shop was 15 years in Santa Cruz when I came to the realization that I was serving more witches on the internet than in physical space. And that's sad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to see retail shops go the way of the dodo bird, but that's the world we live in. It makes no sense. And I know plenty of people have the dream out there to open their own witch store and how quaint and lovely and nice it's going to be. I just don't know if we're in that kind of world anymore. So I had to come to the realization, when I did it, it was a really slow day at the shop, and I'd served a few customers and about four witches, and went home and compared my physical day to my internet day. In my internet day, I had served and worked with about 40 witches, yet paying exorbitant rents, taxes, business insurance, Overhead's insane. And as you might imagine, Santa Cruz being one of the most expensive places to live in the country, it's an extremely expensive place to do business. So I had to come to the realization that I was doing more of the work that I set out to do right here, through this computer, on my phone. I'm constantly interacting with witches all day, every day, on my email, my YouTube, my one of my other emails, my actual students, Skype. I do more, and that was another thing. You know, I had done like 15 Skype readings in a week and 2 readings in the actual shop. I mean, I did have a tarot reader on hand, but as far as my readings, I had to look at the realization that I was doing more of that online and doing less of that in retail. Santa Cruz is a small town with a lot of witches, but there's only so much. There's only so much, and you want to be you want to work as a witch. There's only so many witches in an area you can serve. Those are people going to keep you afloat, you know. And then I got other people, you know, Catholics, Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, you name it. Everybody needs spiritual supplies, so it wasn't all witches. But then I also had to look at the math. I looked at the math and realized that for 3 years, the last 3 years of having a brick and mortar, my living was coming from the internet. From my online shop, from my classes, from my online readings and consultations and work for clients. Now, my living was coming from the internet. But I was using most of my living money to keep the shop open. Matter of fact, there was about 5 years that I worked a second job just to pay the rent, to keep the shop open. So it definitely didn't lack dedication. I was overly dedicated until to the extent where I raised one child who's now 19 years old in the back of a witch store. I don't know if she had a great life. She missed out on a lot of trick-or-treating because Papa was busy doing Samhain rituals at the shop. Eventually, you know, I figured out how to do both, take her trick-or-treating, then go do the rituals. But yeah, I don't know if she had a very good life, Papa being locked down to the witch store. Now I've got another kid, my do-over. I'm doing it over, hopefully doing it better than I did before. And I have advised people countless times, sitting in my advisor chair, that if you can figure out a way to make a living on the internet, do that. Because here's the thing I always found when I lived in Santa Cruz, you know, it's really expensive, like I said, and there'd often be a group of people, they would leave, and they would say, we're out of here, it's too expensive, we're going to Texas. And so what do you got in Texas? Well, for $800 a month, we got a 5-bedroom house on 3 acres of land, and we're going to go live off the land and farm or grow pot or whatever. And I'd see those people less than a year later back in Santa Cruz begging money on the streets. I go, oh, what happened in Texas? I said, oh, fuck. The rent was great, but there was no jobs. And that's the way it works, kids. If there's no jobs, the rent is cheap. If there's jobs, the rent's expensive. Not that there's a huge amount of jobs in Santa Cruz either. They just never managed to do rent control because the landlords run the town. I'm rambling right now. Just, you know, today I'm just testing out the new computer. So I wanted to do a video while testing out the new computer, and I realized that while everybody on all my other channels knows what I did with the shop, I never really mentioned it on YouTube. It slipped my mind. I was busy. So suffice it to say, I had to take my own advice. I had to take my own advice, make my living on the internet, and then live someplace that's not locked into the cost of living. And that's the bottom line. The place you're at, the wages are based on the cost of living. So you got a higher paying job, there's probably higher rents in the area. You got a good choice of jobs, there's going to be higher rents. in the area. If your job is on the internet, you can live anywhere you want. You have an internet connection on some island somewhere and do your work. So I moved someplace much cheaper. I've actually moved around a couple times. See, there's this freedom now. I'm not locked down to a particular place, and I miss some of you people. I miss some of you people that would come into the store. Miss seeing some of the local witches, though I do go back to Santa Cruz and visit pretty often and meet up with old friends, that kind of thing. And definitely the people that worked at my shop. Siva, Ty, those were the people that worked at the shop towards the end there. Miss them, but don't miss. I don't miss them or you enough to work a second job to keep the witch store open and not face the fact that retail stores are going the way of the dodo bird, and that's just the way the world's working, and we got to figure out a way to do it. So now I'm in my virtual witch store. I find myself much busier. It's been a really busy year. I'm also doing some local organizing and some teaching in the town that I moved to. There's a little witch shop here, and I'm helping them learn some witch shop stuff, hoping that their shop succeeds, because I have no inkling to be in retail. I have no inkling to have a brick and mortar store at this time. I'm loving life, man. I'm living life. I'm busier, yet I have more time off. I don't know how that's working out, but I'm constantly filling orders. I'm constantly doing readings, and I'm constantly taking care of my classes. Those of you that follow my channel, I bumped it up to about every major Sabbath. This last year, I have had to schedule a new correspondence course at each Sabbath. So it's a couple months apart, because there's been that much demand and that much people asking about the classes. So, bam, how you like me now? I always wondered what those little special effects over there were for. I never really used them before. But laughing all the way to the bank, boys and girls. So I wanted to do a video so I can figure out how my new computer works, what things I have to do. Taking it basically a shakedown run for the computer and an update on the Sacred Grove. The Sacred Grove now exists in cyberspace and it is busier than ever. You can, of course, find my webpage at thesacredgrovestore.com. There's a phone number there that you can call, and I rarely answer the phone, so leave a message unless I recognize the number. It comes through on my cell phone. It's a separate business line that comes through on my cell phone. So I take the shop with me everywhere I go. I can do the majority of my operations, except the physical making of spiritual supplies and shipping and that kind of thing, on my phone. All my correspondence, my Skype's on my phone. My class comes through my phone. I am a witch on the move, man. Yeah. I'm glad I moved. And I sure the hell, I sure don't miss all the bullshit witch wars that you get sucked into when you're the witch store in town. And I don't miss any of that crap or my competitor, I should say competitor. There were several witch stores in Santa Cruz, and I got along with all of them, but there was one that wanted to compete, wanted to play dirty. I don't miss that at all. I don't miss having to deal with their ticky-tacky shit. They could sit around and see 2 or 3 witches a day. I'm seeing 200 or 300 a day. God, winning. So, marry me, marry part, and come see us at thesacredgrovestore.com. Marry me again.